Welcome back for another edition of the Kickoff, and here we are entering week 2. The Redskins are going to host the Jacksonville-Jaguars at FedEx Field on Sunday. Both teams are 0-1. Both teams desperately need a win. Jay, what are we looking for on offense?
Well, Mike, I think the first thing we're looking for on offense is what do they do without Jordan Reid? The young tight end is injured. He's a mega talent. Had problems staying on the field. I mean, has had a lot of injuries in the not even 2 seasons he's been here. And you're talking about Jordan Reid, a guy who can line up at H-back, a guy who can line up in the slot, a guy who runs routes so well he can beat basically anybody off the line of scrimmage. So when you lose someone like that, a guy who's such a huge part of their passing game, their mid-range passing game, a guy Jay Gruden has installed stuff for to help him help Robert Griffin III. I mean, this is a huge loss. No disrespect to Niles Paulson or Niles Paul or Logan Paulson, but they are not the same type of guy as Jordan Reid. And I think when you look at the offense right now, you have to say to yourself, this is a huge blow, and it really hurts Robert Griffin III.
Yeah, it definitely does. And, defensively, another guy that's got pressure, who's got to step up because of injury is Chris Baker, the nose tackle. He's been starting at left defensive end. Now he's moving over to nose tackle, which is really his natural position. So he says he feels comfortable there, but it's a big position that he's got to be in. Barry Cofield is a guy who doesn't get a lot of stats, but what he does on that defensive line is key to everybody else. He's got to attack the center. He's got to blow up the center of that line. He's got to clog running lanes, take on double teams to free up Jason Hatcher and Jarvis Jenkins, who's going to be starting at the left end spot, and then also free up lanes for the linebackers to blitz and get to the quarterback and the ball carriers. So there are 2 guys in Niles Paul on offense, Chris Baker on defense, who really have to step up. And then also on defense, of course, we're going to be looking at that back end. We talk about Bakari Rambo every single week, and last week you saw why with that big missed tackle. All of it was not his fault on that play, the 76-yard touchdown, but he needed to get a tackle and stop him for maybe a 35-yard gain, and he did not. That really made a big impact on the outcome of that game. But coaches are sticking with him. They brought in Duke Iheanacho, but he is still trying to learn this defense. He knows what he needs to do, but he's got to learn everybody else's responsibilities. So when plays break down, he knows who picks up what and who doesn't. And Bakari Rambo knows that stuff. It's just a matter of transferring that mental aspect onto actually doing it. And so far, he has not shown that he can do that, but they're going to put him out there again, and we'll see if he can deliver this time. But, special teams-wise, they got a lot they got to show as well, right?
Well, Mike, you look at Andre Roberts, dynamic performance in the return game right off the bat. 18 yards average on 2 punt returns, 28 yards and 2 kickoff returns. I mean, that's what you want from a returner. Problem is everything else on special teams.
Right.
I mean, you have a situation where Roy Halou, he's outside block and just lets a guy come in for a punt block touchdown return. You have a point after block. You just can't have those things happen. You've got the crowd noise going in the background being pumped in here to get ready for the game at FedEx Field. So that's what, you get a little taste of that. But the bottom line is you look at special teams, and they've got to shore up these things that went wrong last week against the Texans. They say, well, they're easily fixable, but we keep hearing that. Let's get them fixed.
Yeah, exactly right. And so, it's important for this team not to start 0-2 because you've got a divisional opponent in the Philadelphia Eagles up next, and then right after that, you've got the Giants. So, what's got to come into place? What's got to fall into place for them to win this game?
Well, Mike, from an offensive standpoint, Robert Griffin III has to play well. He executed the game plan last week, but he didn't play well. There were a lot of mistakes that were made. He's got to hit on some of those big play opportunities that were present that he didn't hit on. I think from a offensive standpoint with the other guys, you're going to have to run the ball with Alfred Morris.
Right.
The stretch running game was working great. For a lot of reasons, they got away from it. I think you got to pound the ball with Alfred Morris. You got to make Alfred Morris take the pressure off of Robert Griffin III. And at least offensively, those are the things. What do you think about defensively?
Defensively, they got to get pressure on the quarterback. Got to stop the run game, turn the Jacksonville Jaguars into a one-dimensional team, and they've got to wrap up and make good tackles. So we will see if the Redskins can deliver. That's the Kickoff. We'll see you next week.